The stars were quiet that night. Commander Vethrak stood on the bridge of his patrol cruiser, the pale horizon, watching the endless darkness of space through the main viewport. His 4 dark eyes moved slowly across the sensor displays. Nothing unusual. Just another boring patrol mission near the Outer Rim territories. He had served in the Celtari Confederacy fleet for 30 cycles. He had seen battles. He had lost friends. He had followed orders without question, because that was what good soldiers did. But tonight, everything would change. Tonight, he would make a choice that would shake the entire galaxy. The distress signal came at the 20th hour. It was weak, barely visible on the long-range sensors. A small ship, human design, sending out a call for help. Vethrak leaned forward in his command chair. The signal was coming from Korathi space. His second officer, a young Celtari named Drell, looked up from his station. "Commander, that ship is in Dominion territory. We cannot interfere." Vethrak knew the rules. The Korathi Dominion was powerful. They controlled 60 star systems and had treaties with almost every major species in the galaxy. The Celtari Confederacy had a standing agreement with them. Do not interfere with Korathi business. Do not cross into their space. Do not ask questions about what they did to the ships they captured. Everyone knew what the Korathi did. They were slavers. They took people from smaller species and sold them across the galaxy. Humans were popular on the slave markets. They were strong, adaptable, and did not die easily. The Korathi loved catching humans. "How many life signs on that ship?" Vethrak asked. Drell checked his sensors. 5. No, wait. 3 just disappeared. Only 2 remaining now. 2 humans alive, for now. Vethrak closed his eyes. He thought about his training. He thought about his career. He thought about everything he would lose if he crossed that border. Then he thought about those 2 humans, alone and afraid, waiting to be dragged away to a life of chains and suffering. "Set course for the signal," he said. Drell stared at him. "Commander, the Korathi will consider this an act of war. I heard you the first time. Set the course." The pale horizon jumped to faster-than-light speed. They arrived at the location in minutes. What Vethrak saw made his blood run cold. The human research vessel was small, designed for science rather than combat. It had no weapons, no shields worth mentioning. It was floating dead in space, its hull torn open by Korathi boarding claws. Attached to its side was a Korathi raider ship, black and ugly, shaped like a predator from ancient nightmares. Vethrak could see movement through the human ship's damaged hull. Korathi soldiers dragging something. Someone. "Open fire," he said. "Commander?" Drell looked like he might faint. "I said open fire. Destroy that raider, now." The pale horizon's weapons came alive. Blue plasma bolts tore through space and slammed into the Korathi ship. The raider had no time to react. It exploded in a ball of orange fire, breaking apart and spinning away into the darkness. For a long moment, no one on the bridge spoke. They all knew what they had just done. They had attacked a Korathi vessel. They had violated the treaty. They had started something that could not be stopped. "Transport the survivors aboard," Vethrak ordered. Quickly. The 2 humans materialized in the medical bay seconds later. Vethrak left the bridge and walked down to meet them. He did not know what to expect. He had never seen humans up close before. The first one was a female. She was lying on the medical table, bleeding from a deep wound on her shoulder. Her hair was dark and messy, and her face was pale from blood loss. But her eyes were open, and they were fierce. She looked at Vethrak without fear. The second human was a young male. He was sitting on the floor, his back against the wall, staring at nothing. His hands were shaking. He had seen his friends die tonight. "I am Commander Vethrak," the Celtari said. "You are safe now." The female tried to sit up. The medical officer pushed her back down gently. She ignored him and reached out her hand toward Vethrak. Her fingers were covered in blood. "Lavra Bennett," she said. "My name is Lavra. That is Tyler." She pointed at the young male. "You saved us." Vethrak looked at her small hand. In Selthari culture, touching a stranger was considered strange. But something about the gesture felt important. He reached out with his clawed hand and let her fingers wrap around his. "Thank you," Lavra whispered. "Thank you." Those two words. So simple, so small. Vethrak did not understand then how much they would come to mean. The news of the attack spread quickly. The Korathi Dominion sent a message to the Selthari Confederacy within hours. They demanded justice. They demanded blood. The commander who had destroyed their ship must be punished. Anything less would be considered a declaration of war. The Selthari government did not hesitate. They valued their peace with the Korathi more than they valued one commander. Vethrak was arrested the next day. He was taken from his ship in chains and transported to the capital world for trial. The trial lasted less than an hour. The evidence was clear. Vethrak had violated the treaty. He had attacked a Korathi vessel without authorization. He had caused a diplomatic incident that could lead to war. The sentence was death. Vethrak accepted it calmly. He had known the price when he gave the order to fire. He did not regret his choice. 2 humans were alive because of him. That was enough. They put him in a cell deep underground. A small room with gray walls and a single light. He would wait there for 3 solar cycles. Then they would take him to the Korathi and let them execute him however they wished. He sat in the darkness and thought about Lavra Bennett. He wondered if she was safe. He wondered if she had made it back to Earth. He hoped she would live a good life. He hoped she would forget about the alien who had saved her and move on. What Vethrak did not know was that Laura had not forgotten. She had not moved on. The moment she was strong enough to stand, she had sent a message to Earth. A message that contained everything. The attack. The rescue. The arrest. The death sentence. And Earth was listening. Far across the galaxy. In a building made of glass and steel, a group of humans read Laura's message. They read it again. Then they began to make calls. Important calls. Calls that would wake up admirals and generals and presidents. Something was stirring. Something old and fierce and unstoppable. The humans were paying attention now. And when humans paid attention, the galaxy learned to be afraid. In his cell, Vethrak closed his eyes and waited for death. He did not know that death was not coming for him. War was. Admiral Nathan Cole had not slept in 2 days. He stood in his office at Earth Defense Command, staring at the holographic display that floated above his desk. It showed a face. An alien face. 4 dark eyes. Gray skin covered in small scales. A mouth full of teeth that looked too sharp to be friendly. Commander Vethrak of the Selthari Confederacy. Nathan had read the report 17 times. A human research vessel attacked. 3 scientists killed. 2 survivors rescued by an alien commander who broke every rule his people had to save them. And now that commander was going to die for it. The door opened behind him. His aide, a young officer named Chris Palmer, stepped inside. "Sir, the council is ready for you." Nathan nodded slowly. He grabbed his uniform jacket from the chair and put it on. His fingers moved automatically over the buttons. 28 years in the fleet. Countless battles. Countless decisions. But nothing like this. "Chris," he said, "what do you know about the Korathi?" The young officer thought for a moment. "Slavers, sir. They take people from weaker species and sell them. They have one of the largest fleets in the galaxy. Nobody fights them." "Nobody fights them," Nathan repeated. "Do you know why?" Because they are too powerful, sir. Nathan turned to face him. His eyes were cold. No, nobody fights them because nobody cares enough. The Korathi take slaves from species that do not matter to the big empires. Small colonies. Research vessels. People who will not be missed. The galaxy lets it happen because it is easier than starting a war. He walked toward the door. That changes today. The United Earth Council met in a great circular chamber beneath the city of Geneva. 12 representatives from the major nations of Earth sat around a curved table. Above them, a dome of glass showed the blue sky and white clouds of their home world. Nathan stood at the podium in the center. He looked at each face around the table. Politicians, diplomats, people who spent their lives talking instead of fighting. He needed to make them understand. 2 days ago, he began, a human research vessel was attacked in neutral space near the outer rim. 5 of our citizens were aboard. 3 of them are dead. Dr. Samuel Briggs, Dr. Patricia Holland, Dr. Marcus Webb. They were scientists. They were studying stars. They did not hurt anyone. They did not threaten anyone. The Korathi killed them anyway. He pressed a button on the podium. Images appeared on the screens around the chamber. The destroyed research vessel. The dead scientists. The faces of the survivors. Dr. Laura Bennett and engineer Tyler Grant survived. They survived because a Selthari commander named Vethrak risked everything to save them. He attacked a Korathi ship. He violated his own people's laws. He knew what would happen to him, and he did it anyway. Councilwoman Megan Price leaned forward. Admiral, we have all read the reports. This is a tragedy. But what exactly are you asking us to do? What exactly are you asking us to do? The Selthari have already sentenced this commander to death. It is an internal matter. Nathan smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Internal matter. Interesting choice of words. Let me tell you what is going to happen if we do nothing. In 3 days, the Selthari will hand Commander Vethrak over to the Korathi. The Korathi will execute him publicly. They will make a show of it. And every species in the galaxy will learn a very important lesson. He paused. They will learn that helping humans gets you killed. They will learn that humanity is not worth the risk. They will learn that we are weak. That we do not protect those who protect us. That we are prey. The chamber was silent. Councilman Kevin Park spoke next. Admiral, I understand your frustration. But the Korathi Dominion controls 60 star systems. We control 8. Our fleet is 1/5 the size of theirs. What you are suggesting is suicide, is it? Nathan stepped away from the podium and walked toward the table. The Korathi are used to fighting scared people. They pick on small colonies and defenseless ships because they know those targets cannot fight back. They have never faced an enemy who's not afraid of them. He stopped in front of Kevin Park and looked down at him. Humans are not afraid. We have been fighting wars since we climbed down from the trees. We have killed each other over land, over religion, over ideas. We have survived plagues and famines and disasters that should have ended us. We are still here. We are always still here. He turned to address the entire council. The Korathi have numbers. They have ships. They have weapons. But they do not have what we have. They do not have the will to fight until there is nothing left. They do not have the madness that makes humans dangerous. Councilwoman Price raised her hand. You want us to start a war over one alien? One person who is not even human. Nathan slammed his hand on the table. The sound echoed through the chamber. That alien saved 2 human lives. He put himself between our people and death. In my book, that makes him one of us. And we do not abandon our own. Ever. He walked back to the podium. I am not asking for permission. I am asking for support. The fleet is ready to move. We can be at the Selthari capital within hours. We can take Commander Vethrak back. We can show the galaxy what happens when you mess with humanity. And if the Korathi declare war, Kevin Park asked. Nathan looked at him with eyes that had seen too much death to be scared of anything. Then we give them a war they will never forget. We burn their ships. We tear down their empire. We free every slave they have ever taken. And when it is over, every species in the galaxy will know one simple truth. He leaned forward. You do not touch humanity. You do not harm those who help us. And if you do, we will make you regret the day you were born. The vote took less than 10 minutes. 11 in favor. 1 abstention. No opposition. Earth declared war on the Korathi Dominion at exactly 1400 hours, Geneva time. The announcement was broadcast across every human channel and transmitted to every known alien species. The message was simple. Humanity was coming. Humanity was angry. And humanity would not stop until Commander Vethrak was freed. In his cell on the Selthari capital world, Vethrak felt the ground shake. He did not know what was happening. He thought perhaps it was an earthquake. It was not an earthquake. It was the sound of 72 human warships jumping into orbit. Above his head. It was the sound of war arriving. And it was only the beginning. The sky above the Selthari capital world turned red. Not from sunset, not from clouds, from the engine trails of 72 human warships, dropping out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. Minister Drath stood on the balcony of the government building, his 4 eyes wide with terror. He had been eating dinner when the alarm started. Now he watched as the largest fleet he had ever seen arranged itself in a ring around his planet. How is this possible? He whispered to his aide. The humans were supposed to be weak. They were supposed to be primitive. His aide did not answer. He was too busy running away. On the bridge of the carrier Relentless, Admiral Nathan Cole sat in his command chair like a king on his throne. Around him, officers worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. Everyone knew their job. Everyone was ready. All ships in position, sir, reported Commander Ashley Nguyen from the tactical station. The Selthari are powering up their defense platforms, but they have not fired yet. Nathan nodded. Open a channel. All frequencies. The communications officer pressed a series of buttons. Channel open, sir. Nathan leaned forward. When he spoke, his voice was calm and cold. It carried across every radio frequency, every communication system, every speaker on the planet below. This is Admiral Nathan Cole of the United Earth Fleet. You are holding a friend of humanity. His name is Commander Vethrak of the Selthari Confederacy. He saved 2 of our people. He risked his life for them. And now you have sentenced him to death. He paused. Let the words sink in. I am going to make this very simple. You have 1 hour to release Commander Vethrak into our custody. If you do not, we will come down there and take him ourselves. We will destroy any ship or station that tries to stop us. We will remove any obstacle in our path. And when we are finished, your government will answer for its crimes against humanity. He leaned back. You have 1 hour. Choose wisely. The channel closed. Silence filled the bridge. Ashley Nguyen turned to face him. Sir, I am reading massive communications between the Selthari and the Korathi. The Selthari are asking for instructions. And what are the Korathi saying? Ashley listened to her earpiece. They are telling the Selthari to hold firm. They say humans are bluffing. They say we will back down before we risk a real war. Nathan checked his watch. 53 minutes left. Far below, in the underground prison complex, Vethrak heard the explosions above. Dust fell from the ceiling of his cell. He stood up and pressed his hands against the energy barrier that kept him trapped. Something was happening. Something big. A guard ran past his cell, not even looking at him. Then another. Then a dozen. Everyone was running upward, toward the surface. Toward the danger. Vethrak did not understand. The Selthari had no enemies powerful enough to attack their capital. Who would dare? He got his answer 5 minutes later. The wall of his cell exploded inward. Not the energy barrier. The actual wall. Stone and metal flew across the room. Vethrak threw himself to the ground, covering his head with his arms. When he looked up, he saw figures stepping through the smoke. They wore black armor and carried weapons he did not recognize. Their faces were hidden behind dark helmets. Human soldiers. One of them removed her helmet. Vethrak stared. He knew that face. Dark hair. Fierce eyes. A bandage on her shoulder where the wound was still healing. Lavra Bennett. "Hello again," she said with a smile. "Did you miss me?" Vethrak could not speak. His mind was trying to process what he was seeing. Lavra was supposed to be safe on Earth. She was supposed to be recovering. Instead, she was standing in his cell, surrounded by human Marines in the middle of a war zone. How? He finally managed to say Lara stepped forward and pressed a button on her wrist. The energy barrier flickered and died. "We came to get you. The whole fleet is up there. 72 ships. All for you. That is impossible. I am one Selthari. I am nothing. Why would your people risk so much?" Tyler Grant stepped through the hole in the wall. He looked different from before. Stronger. His hands were not shaking anymore. He was holding a weapon like he knew how to use it. "You saved our lives," Tyler said. "You did not have to. You knew what would happen to you, and you did it anyway. That means something to us. That means everything to us." Lavra reached out and took Vethrak's clawed hand, just like she had done in the medical bay. In human culture, when someone saves your life, you owe them. You protect them. You stand by them no matter what. You became part of our family the moment you decided to help us. "Family," Vethrak repeated. The word felt strange in his mouth. "Family," Lavra confirmed. "And humans do not abandon family. Ever." Above them, the battle was beginning. The Selthari had refused to release Vethrak. They were too afraid of the Korathi to defy them. So the humans were doing what they promised. They were coming to take him themselves. Small assault craft dropped from the human carriers, screening down through the atmosphere. Selthari defense platforms opened fire, but the human pilots were too fast, too skilled. They dodged and weaved between the energy beams like dancers in a deadly ballet. On the Relentless, Ashley Nguyen reported the situation. "Marine teams have reached the prison complex. They have located the target. Extraction in progress." Nathan nodded. "Tell the Selthari to stand down. Their weapons are useless against us. There is no need for more death." "Sir, they are not responding. Their commanders are still waiting for orders from the Korathi." Nathan sighed. "The Korathi are not here. We are. Send the message again. Tell them that every ship that fires on us will be destroyed. No warnings. No second chances." The message was sent. 3 minutes later, the Selthari defense platforms went silent. Their commanders had finally understood. The humans were not bluffing. The humans were never bluffing. In the prison complex, Lavra led Vethrak through the ruined corridors. Marines cleared the path ahead of them. They met no resistance. The guards had all fled. "Where are we going?" Vethrak asked. "Up," Lavra said. "There is a shuttle waiting. It will take us to the fleet. Then we are going to Earth." "Earth?" Vethrak stopped walking. "You are taking me to your home world?" Lara turned to face him. Her eyes were soft now, kind. You do not have a home anymore. Your people betrayed you. They were going to let you die. So now you have a new home. With us. Vethrak felt something strange in his chest. A warmth he had never experienced before. He did not have words for it. Humans would call it hope. They reached the surface. The shuttle was waiting, its engines running. Around them, the city was in chaos. People running, sirens wailing, smoke rising from buildings that had been hit in the battle. But above it all, Vethrak saw something that took his breath away. The human fleet. 72 warships arranged in perfect formation. Their hulls painted black with a single blue stripe. They hung in the sky like guardians. Like protectors. Like family. He climbed into the shuttle. Lavra sat beside him. Tyler sat across from them. The Marines filled the other seats. As the shuttle lifted off, Vethrak looked down at the world that had tried to kill him. Then he looked up at the ships that had come to save him. Your species is insane, he said. Lavra laughed. We know. That is what makes us dangerous. The shuttle rose into the sky. Below them, the Silthari capital grew smaller and smaller. Above them, the Relentless waited. The rescue was complete. But the war was just beginning. The Korathi had made their choice. Now they would face the consequences, and the galaxy would learn what happened when you made enemies of humanity. The Korathi High Council received the news at midnight. The humans had taken Commander Vethrak. The Silthari had failed to stop them. 72 enemy ships were now moving through space, heading directly for the Dominion's borders. High Counselor Grath sat on his throne of black stone and listened to his generals argue. They were not afraid. How could they be? The Korathi had ruled this part of the galaxy for 1,000 years. They had crushed empires. They had enslaved millions. No species had ever defeated them in open war. The humans are fools, said General Voss, his massive body covered in battle scars from 100 campaigns. They have 70 ships. We have 200 in the home fleet alone. They fly to their death. They are mad, agreed Admiral Keth. They started a war over one alien, one worthless Silthari commander. Their leaders must be insane. High Counselor Grath raised his hand for silence. Mad or not, they have challenged us. They have broken into Silthari territory and stolen a prisoner. They have declared war on the Korathi Dominion. He stood from his throne. He was old, but still powerful. His voice echoed through the council chamber like thunder. No species insults the Korathi and survives. Assemble the home fleet. Meet the humans at the border. Destroy every ship. Kill every soldier. Bring me their admiral in chains. The order was given. 200 Korathi warships began to move toward the border. It was the largest fleet they had assembled in centuries. Enough firepower to destroy entire planets. Enough soldiers to conquer a dozen worlds. They expected an easy victory. They were wrong. The human fleet did not wait at the border. They did not form defensive lines. They did not behave like any enemy the Korathi had ever faced. They jumped directly into the Korathi home system. Admiral Nathan Cole stood on the bridge of the Relentless as his ships emerged from faster-than-light travel. Before him, through the main viewport, he could see the Korathi homeworld, a dark planet covered in factories and military bases. The heart of the Dominion. Sir, Korathi home fleet is still at the border, reported Ashley Nguyen. They expected us to meet them there. We are behind their lines. Nathan smiled. Good. Begin the attack. Primary targets are military installations, defense platforms, and ship construction yards. No civilian targets unless they fire first. Yes, sir. The human fleet spread out across the system like wolves hunting sheep. They moved fast, faster than Korathi sensors could track. Their weapons fired with deadly accuracy. Defense platforms exploded. Military bases burned. Construction yards where new warships were being built collapsed into ruin. The Korathi home fleet received the news with horror. The humans had bypassed them completely. They were attacking the home world itself. 200 ships turned around and raced back home at maximum speed. But they were too late. Captain Ryan Moore of the destroyer Dauntless led his ship into the heart of the Korathi orbital defense network. His vessel was small, built for speed rather than firepower. But Ryan did not care about firepower. He cared about results. Target their command station, he ordered. Full power to forward weapons. The Dauntless flew straight at the massive Korathi command station. Energy beams from defense platforms slashed through space around them. The ship shook as shields absorbed hit after hit. Shields at 40%, reported his first officer. Keep going. Shields at 20%. Keep going. The Dauntless opened fire. Its main cannon punched a hole straight through the command station's armor. The entire structure shuddered, then began to break apart. But the damage was done. A Korathi cruiser had moved into position behind them. Its weapons tore into the Dauntless, ripping through the hull. The engines died. The ship began to drift. All hands, prepare for boarding, Ryan announced over the intercom. Grab your weapons. They are coming for us. The Korathi soldiers entered through the holes in the hull. They expected to find broken humans ready to surrender. Instead, they found the entire crew waiting for them with guns raised and smiles on their faces. Welcome aboard, said Ryan as he opened fire. The battle inside the Dauntless lasted 20 minutes. When it was over, 47 Korathi soldiers were dead. Only 12 humans had fallen. The survivors held the ship until reinforcements arrived to pick them up. Across the system, similar scenes played out. Human ships attacked targets 3 times their size and won. Human soldiers fought with a fury that terrified their enemies. When ships were disabled, crews fought to the last breath. When weapons failed, they used fists and knives and anything else they could find. The Korathi had never seen anything like it. General Voss led the home fleet back to defend their planet. He expected to crush the humans easily. His ships outnumbered theirs almost 3-1. Victory should have been certain. It was not. The humans did not fight like other species. They did not form lines and exchange fire at safe distances. They charged directly into Korathi formations, breaking them apart, creating chaos. They targeted engines and weapon systems, leaving ships helpless. They coordinated their attacks with perfect precision, as if every captain knew exactly what the others were thinking. Admiral Cole commanded from the center of the battle. His voice was calm over the fleet communications, giving orders, adjusting tactics, keeping his people focused. Group Alpha, target the flagship. Group Beta, cover their approach. Group Gamma, cut off their retreat. The Korathi flagship was the largest ship in their fleet. It carried 1,000 soldiers and enough weapons to destroy a small moon. General Voss stood on its bridge, watching in disbelief as human ships swarmed around him. Impossible, he muttered. This is impossible. It was not impossible. It was human. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Korathi home fleet was destroyed. 42 warships reduced to burning wreckage floating in the darkness of space. General Voss was dead, killed when his flagship's reactor exploded. The humans had lost 17 ships. Over 400 soldiers had died. It was a heavy price, but they had won. Admiral Cole opened a channel to the Korathi home world. The High Council was watching. The whole galaxy was watching. This is Admiral Nathan Cole of the United Earth Fleet. Your fleet is destroyed. Your defenses are gone. Your slave markets will burn next. He paused, letting the silence stretch. You have 2 choices. First, release every human slave in your territory. Every single one. Second, Surrender Commander Vethrak's official pardon and acknowledge that he is under Earth's protection. Third, your leaders will publicly apologize for their actions. He leaned forward. If you refuse, we will continue. We will destroy every military target in your space. We will free every slave on every world you control. We will reduce your dominion to dust. And we will not stop until there is nothing left. High Counselor Grath stared at the screen showing the human admiral's face. His generals were dead. His fleet was gone. His empire was crumbling around him. For the first time in his long life, he felt fear. We accept your terms, he said, thought the war was over. Across the galaxy, other species watched the news in stunned silence. The humans had done the impossible. They had challenged one of the most powerful empires in known space and won. They had fought with a ferocity that defied logic. They had sacrificed everything for one alien who had helped their people. The elder races began to update their records. Under the entry for humanity, they added new notes: dangerous, unpredictable, loyal beyond reason, do not provoke. On the relentless, Admiral Cole sat alone in his quarters. He looked at the casualty reports. 400 names. 400 families who would never see their loved ones again. Thought it was a heavy cost. But it was worth it, because the galaxy now knew the truth. Humanity protected its own. Always. No matter the price. Anyone who forgot that lesson would learn it again. The hard way. Commander Vethrak stood on the observation deck of the Relentless and watched a blue planet grow larger through the viewport. Earth, the human home world. A small sphere of water and land floating in the endless darkness of space. It did not look like much. It was smaller than the Selthari capital. It had only one moon. Its technology was young compared to the ancient empires of the galaxy. And yet, the species that lived on that little blue world had just defeated one of the most powerful forces in known space. Vethrak did not understand humans. He was not sure he ever would. The door behind him opened. Admiral Nathan Cole walked in, carrying 2 glasses filled with amber liquid. He handed one to Vethrak. Whiskey, Nathan explained. Human tradition. We drink it when we survive something we should not have. Vethrak looked at the glass. The liquid smelled strange, strong. He took a small sip. It burned his throat, but not in a bad way. Your people died for me, Vethrak said quietly. 400 soldiers. 17 ships. All for one Selthari commander. Nathan took a long drink from his own glass. Yes. Why? The Admiral did not answer immediately. He stood beside Vethrak and looked out at Earth. The planet was beautiful from this distance. Blue oceans, white clouds, green land masses that held billions of human lives. There is a saying on Earth, Nathan finally said. No one left behind. It means that we do not abandon our people. Not in victory. Not in defeat. Not ever. But I am not your people. I am not human. Nathan turned to face him. His eyes were tired but kind. You saved 2 of our people. You risked everything to protect them. In my book, that makes you one of us. He put his hand on Vethrak's shoulder. It was a human gesture, one that meant friendship and trust. You became family the moment you decided to help Laura and Tyler. And humans do not abandon family. We will fight wars for family. We will cross galaxies for family. We will burn empires to the ground for family. Vethrak looked down at the glass in his clawed hand. Family. He had been raised to believe in duty and order. The Selthari did not have families like humans did. They had clans and hierarchies and chains of command. But this was different. This was something he had never experienced before. I do not know how to be human, he said. Nathan laughed. Nobody knows how to be human. We are still figuring it out ourselves. Just be yourself. That is enough. The Relentless entered Earth's atmosphere 3 hours later. Vethrak watched through the viewport as the ship descended through clouds and sky. He saw cities spreading across the land below. Buildings made of glass and metal. Roads connecting everything like the veins of a living creature. The ship landed at a large facility near a city called Geneva. When the doors opened, Vethrak saw a crowd waiting. Hundreds of humans gathered to welcome the fleet home, but more than that, they were waiting for him. Lavra Bennett was the first person he saw. She was standing at the front of the crowd, her shoulder bandaged but healing. Tyler Grant stood beside her. Both of them were smiling. Vethrak walked down the ramp slowly. He was not sure what to expect. He was the first Selthari to ever set foot on Earth. He did not know how humans would react to him. Lara ran forward and threw her arms around him. She hugged him tightly, not caring that his scales were rough or that his body was shaped differently than hers. "Welcome home," she whispered. The crowd began to cheer. People clapped their hands. Some waved flags. Children sat on their parents' shoulders to get a better look at the alien who had saved 2 humans and started a galactic war. Vethrak did not know what to do. He just stood there, surrounded by noise and warmth and something he could only describe as love. The ceremony took place 3 weeks later. Vethrak stood in a great hall filled with important humans. Politicians, military leaders, scientists, reporters with cameras floating beside them. Admiral Cole stood at a podium and spoke to the crowd. "Today, we are here to honor a hero. Commander Vethrak of the Selthari Confederacy put his life on the line to save 2 of our people. He showed courage that most beings never find. He showed loyalty that most species never understand." He turned to face Vethrak. "The government of Earth has decided to grant you something that has never been given to a non-human before. Full citizenship. You are now officially a member of our species, with all the rights and protections that come with it." A woman in formal clothes stepped forward. She was the Secretary General of the United Earth Council. She held a small document in her hands. "Commander Vethrak," she said, "do you accept citizenship of Earth? Do you accept the protection of humanity? Do you promise to stand with us as we have stood with you?" Vethrak looked at the document. Then he looked at the crowd. He saw Lara smiling at him. He saw Tyler giving him a thumbs up. He saw Admiral Cole nodding with approval. "I accept," he said. The crowd erupted in applause. The Secretary General handed him the document. Cameras flashed. Music played. People celebrated. Vethrak was no longer alone. He had a home. He had a family. He had a people who would fight for him no matter what. After the ceremony, a reporter approached him. She was young, with bright eyes and a curious expression. "Commander Vethrak, can I ask you something?" He nodded. "Of course. What have you learned from your experience with humans?" Vethrak thought about the question carefully. He thought about the cell where he had waited to die. He thought about the fleet that had come to save him. He thought about Laura's arms around him and the crowd cheering his name. "I learned that humans are not like other species," he said slowly. "They do not think about profit or power. They think about loyalty. They think about family. Protect one of them, and they will move stars to protect you in return. Harm one of them, and they will burn your entire civilization to the ground." The reporter nodded, taking notes. "Is there anything else?" Vethrak looked across the room. He saw Lara and Tyler talking with Admiral Cole. He saw humans of all shapes and sizes celebrating together. He saw a species that had reached out to him when his own people had thrown him away. "Yes," he said. "I learned that if you must choose between being humanity's friend or humanity's enemy, choose friendship. Because human enemies do not last long, but human friends last forever." The reporter smiled and walked away to find other people to interview. Vethrak stood alone for a moment, watching the celebration. He thought about everything that had happened. The attack, the rescue, the war. The victory. It had started with a simple decision. Save 2 humans or let them die. He had chosen to save them. He had not expected anything in return, but humans did not work that way. They remembered. They paid their debts. They protected those who protected them. Laura walked up beside him. "How does it feel?" she asked. "Being an Earth citizen?" Vethrak considered the question. "Strange," he admitted. "Good. Different. Different how?" He looked at her with his 4 dark eyes. "I have never belonged anywhere before. The Selthari saw me as a soldier, nothing more. A tool to be used and thrown away. But you humans see something else. You see a person. A friend." Laura smiled and took his clawed hand in hers. "That is because you are a friend. And friends stick together. Always." Together, they walked out onto a balcony overlooking the city. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The city lights were beginning to flicker on below. "It is beautiful," Vethrak said. "It is home," Laura replied, and for the first time in his life, Vethrak understood what that word truly meant. Across the galaxy, the news of the human victory spread. Species that had once ignored humanity began sending ambassadors. The Karathi Dominion collapsed as slave populations rose up in rebellion. The Selthari Confederacy begged for an alliance. The galaxy had changed. The rules had changed. And everyone knew why. Humanity had shown them. One act of kindness had started a war. One war had changed everything. And the galaxy would never forget the lesson it had learned. Protect a human, and you gain a friend for life. Harm a human, and you make an enemy you cannot defeat. The choice was simple, and every species in the galaxy remembered.